Hello humans and welcome to episode 12 of Chef Mike Does Stuff. Thank you very much for joining me today. We are making au gratin potatoes. It's a little fancier of a dish, but if you have been following Chef Mike Does Stuff, you have already learned all the skills needed to make an awesome au gratin potato. Another thing we gotta discuss is technically it's not really au gratin potatoes because usually it uses a cheese sauce where I'm just using cream. And it's not really scallop potatoes because that does not use cheese, but I'm using cheese in mine. So it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe it's Chef Mike potatoes. I don't know. You call it whatever you want. It's delicious. We're going to get right to the cutting board so we can make this and assemble it. I'm going to introduce you to the mandolin, one of my favorite cutting apparatuses, but you do not need that, of course. I'm using a bunch of fancy aged cheddar cheese. You don't need to do that. You could use whatever cheese you want. I'm using caramelized onions, which you should already know how to make, and then I am using some golden potatoes, so and some heavy cream, and that's it. Salt and pepper, and a little bit of thyme. That's it. Super easy. So let's get to the cutting board and let's make some delicious nom noms. The first thing we're gonna do is start off with our pan. So I've got about an 8x10, and I went ahead and I buttered the inside. Just because it's going to be delicious. We want to keep some of the onions and potatoes and stuff from sticking to the bottom of the pan, but you could use oil, you could use non-stick pan spray, whatever the heck you want. So the first thing we're going to do is take those caramelized onions that you made from a previous episode of Chef Mike Does Stuff. These are probably 5 large white onions that I cooked for. These are probably about 2.5-hour onions. And they're already cooled. I did it yesterday, so I didn't have to do it today. And I'm going to put all this in the bottom of my pan. And I am going to spread this out evenly across the bottom. This is another one where if you want to do maybe the onions the day before like I did, it'll save you some time, definitely, the day that you want to make these. You can use, any onion you so desire. I usually use Vidalia, but with, everything going on in the world, these were just white onions. This was simple with olive oil, salt and pepper, a little paprika. Watch the video. You'll learn how to make them. You already know how. Magical. Okay, so our caramelized onions are all here on the bottom. The next thing I am going to do is add a bunch of garlic. I'm adding it now because I don't want the garlic to burn or scorch being on the top. We're going to be adding cream and cheese, so I want that garlic underneath everything. But I've got about 7 cloves. This is one of those recipes where if you want to load it up with a bunch of garlic, please do so because it's delicious. But just remember when you are cooking with garlic, that burn is going to go away a little bit. So go ahead and load up on as much garlic as you want in this recipe. Okay, I'm going to spread this around a little more evenly, of course. Don't worry about getting your hands dirty. Doesn't matter. There you go. All right. Beautiful. All right, the next thing I am going to do, what should I do next? We're going to go to potatoes. So I'm going to move this off to the side. I've got a bowl of potatoes here. Now, for those of you who did the Hasselback potato, this is basically exactly the same thing that you did, but cut all the way through. And you're going to have these 1/4 inch sliced potatoes. But I actually use this handy dandy gadget called a mandolin. Be very careful. Many of people have lost a fingertip using the mandolin. There's a nice super sharp blade right here. This little knob right here changes the opening width so you could get whatever width you want. You could even change some blades in and out to get like a shredded look to it. But basically you take your potato and very carefully run it across the blade like so. Once your fingers are getting really close, you're probably going to want to slow down. I use it a little more knife edge like that. And you've got yourself these beautiful, evenly cut, nice potatoes. If you do that ahead of time, make sure to keep them in water. Just because we don't want them to turn brown. But if you have everything ready, you can totally just cut them and put them in your dish. So, here we go. Now, this is a fun part too. If you've watched like Ratatouille and seen a beautiful layered veg, basically that is what we're going to do. So I take the bigger slices of tomato. Duh! I meant potato. You know, the bigger as far as like length, so that it's a little more uniform. And I just go ahead and shingle these bad boys across the top like so. You can make a cool design, fancy pattern. This works if you maybe want to do diced potato or shredded potato. Use whatever cut you want. I like sliced just because I think it looks a little fancier. What would be pretty cool if you actually want to make these in like individual portions, that could be really fun. That would look really nice on a plate. But I'm just going to do this a little more family stylish, like so. You can use Redskin. You can use Russet. I like using the Yukon Gold just because it's really creamy and buttery. So I like that. Almost done here. This is probably 3 or 4 potatoes worth, I would say. Let's do it like so. And when I was talking about more same, so I have pieces like this. I'm going to keep those off to the side. And do it like so. Almost done. Look at that. This is going to be super easy. Like I said, you already know how to do caramelized onions. You already know how to cut these potatoes. We're going to add heavy cream, and you've used heavy cream if you made the mashed potatoes from a previous episode as well. And look at those little ones, those little tiny pieces that you have, or the smaller ones. I'm gonna fill it in like so. Okay. Now, another thing you want to do, I'm gonna add one more over here, a little more balance. I am going to push this down with some force to try to get everything nice and flat. Keep it all compressed, like so. Okay, awesome. Next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of salt and pepper over the potatoes. Your caramelized onions already have some salt in it, so don't go too hard on the salt. I'm going to add some fresh cracked pepper, like so. This is going to look so good when it's all done. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of fresh thyme. Now what I like to do is find the branches like so. We've done this before. Take the other end, pull it across. I'm sprinkling that on now because I'm going to put cream on the top of this, and then I'm going to put cheese on the top of this. This is going to bake in the oven for a while, so I don't want my fresh herbs to burn or anything. So the cream and the cheese should keep this safe, just like with the black pepper and all that. So I used maybe 3 or so sprigs. And I might save a little extra for afterwards as a little garnish, just because, oh, there's a little stem piece in there. We don't want that. We don't want no stems in there. Well, that's not too bad. That'll cook out. Okay, maybe one more. Okay. There we go. All right, next thing I'm going to do. So I have 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream here, but I'm probably not using it all. Basically, I don't want this swimming in cream. I want a little bit of cream poured over each potato. Okay. To make sure each potato's got a little bit of wetness to it. And like I said, this is going to, thicken up a little bit when this cooks. That's it. That's really all I'm going to use right there for that cream. Like I said in the beginning, au gratin potatoes is usually a cheese sauce, which you can totally do. I'm making this a little easier because I don't want to make a sauce. I just want to put it all together and make something tasty. Last thing we're going to do, I probably got 4 or 5 ounces of real good sharp cheddar cheeses. I got a yellow and a white. Okay, this is not a pasteurized process. This is real natural cheddar cheese. And I am simply going to cover the top. You don't necessarily want to go too heavy. I know that's weird because the more cheese, the better. But we want to have a nice little like layer of bubbly cheese over the top. That's going to look awesome in photos. There you go. That's it. Now all you have to do is bake it till it's done. Our favorite thing to do on Chef Mike Does Stuff. I'm going to put this in a 400-degree oven for maybe about an hour. We want those potatoes to be really fork tender. We don't want anything to burn if it's looking too dark while it's cooking. Cover it in foil. If you want to add more cheese because there wasn't enough, add more cheese, whatever you want to do. Add other ingredients to this. Do you want other herbs? Do you want something mixed with the onions? A different kind of cheese? You do whatever you want. Make sure to tag me and post the pictures. It's my favorite thing in the world. So we're going to get this into the oven. We're going to cook it for about an hour. And then we're going to have that sexy food porn glamour shot at the end. So I will see you in a little bit. And just like that, 1 hour later, you have delicious au gratin potatoes or scallop potatoes or whatever you really want to call them. It's hot. Whew. Looks delightful. I'm going to eat some because that's what's most important. Oh yeah, you could see. I'm going to make a mess of this. Oh yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy, that's steaming. You don't have to caramelize the onions as long as I did. I know they look maybe a little dark on camera, but they are far from burnt. They are delicious. That's how you do it. And that's it. You could do it too. Make sure you post pictures because I want to see what you make. Change it up. Make it however you want. Make it better than me. I don't care. Just do cool stuff. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, retweet, carrier pigeon about the show. I don't know. Chef Mike Does Stuff. Thank you for watching. I hope it was delicious because it certainly is on my end. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and eat more of this. Make sure once again to subscribe because you are not going to want to miss when Chef Mike does stuff. Okay, bye. Nom noms times. Somebody said I shouldn't say nom noms anymore, and I think that's stupid. So good.